Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. This episode is called The Tidal Wave of Pro Athlete Bankruptcies. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, follow, and comment on the show. Also, I'd like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities, so check them out. You can purchase a live 15-second call for $19.95 or a live 30-second call for $29.95. It's a great gift idea for somebody you love and care about. It's a great birthday gift, a great holiday gift, or you can just use it to chat with your favorite stars. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now let's get started. So, how are all the delays and cancellations in the world of professional sports affecting all the athletes on a financial level? We're hearing a lot of very concerning rumors from the world of professional sports. Specifically, we're hearing that all of the delays and cancellations in the various sports leagues and games have financially devastated a large group of professional athletes, and that many of them are thinking about filing for bankruptcy soon. Now, we looked into this phenomenon and uncovered some really disturbing information. The first thing we learned was that in normal times, up to as many as 2/3 of professional athletes file for bankruptcy within 5 years of retiring from the game. 2/3. That's staggering. Now, with all that's been going on for the last 6 months, we're hearing that a lot of those athletes who have been depleting their bank accounts over the last few years by spending crazy money on mansions, cars, child support payments to groupies, drugs, and crazy business investments have now been caught short. A lot of them were counting on this year's money to help them recover or rebuild or just make the minimum payments on their monthly bills and overhead, and now that's not happening. What's really concerning is that a lot of these athletes were the only ones making any money for their extended families. And now that that money has dried up, both the athletes and all their family members who were depending on them financially are in serious trouble. We're also hearing another disturbing rumor, and that is that the wives of a lot of these athletes are planning to file for divorce now rather than wait later, because they're concerned that the groupies that their husbands are secretly paying child support to will beat them to the courthouse when they realize they're not going to get more child support money from the athlete. What about all the money and wealth these guys made in the past? What's become of all that? Well, that's a very interesting question. So we looked into it. It turns out that a lot of athletes who bought mansions over the last 7 years actually bought them at the top of the real estate market, and that market has been declining ever since. With all that's been happening in the economy, athletes that bought a home a few years ago and who now try and sell that mansion are being shocked by their real estate agents, who are telling them that they will be lucky to get 60 to 70% of what they paid for the house when they bought it. Here's another problem, and that is that those athletes who are trying to refinance their homes to get some money out of them to carry them through this rough year are finding out that they can pull out much less cash out of those homes now than they could just a few years ago. Some of them are trying to unload their cars and jewelry, but they're also being shocked to find out how little they can sell those things for. We're hearing that there is one car broker who specializes in working with athletes, who is now calling athletes who are in financial trouble and offering them 30 to 40 cents on the dollar for the car they sold them in the past. Some pawn shops are also reducing the amount they pay for items that athletes try to bring in to try and sell them, because the market is driving down their value. Here is something else really disturbing that we're hearing. A growing number of professional fighters who have retired years ago because of their advanced age or health-related reasons are now planning to return to the fight game simply because they are so desperate financially. Some of them are so compromised and damaged physically that they can't get certified or licensed to fight in their state anymore because of all their health issues. So they are going jurisdiction shopping to other states and even other countries to try and find an area that will clear them to fight. Some of these guys are literally putting their lives on the line just to try to make some more money. Another problem that a lot of athletes have now is their tax debt. Many of them have either delayed their tax payments or not paid them for a while, and they were planning on using this year's income to get caught up on their tax debt. Now that's not going to happen for a lot of these guys. Another issue for a lot of these financially imperiled athletes is that for some reason, a lot of them have spent millions of dollars on crazy jewelry that they purchased regularly over the years at high-end New York and LA jewelers. Now that they're in financial trouble, some of these guys are taking their jewelry back to the stores they bought it from, or they're going to pawn shops and they're trying to unload that jewelry, and they're finding out that all they get offered is the value of the gold weight of the jewelry. And if they brought jewelry that had a lot of diamonds and other stones in it, then they quickly find out how bad of an investment that was when they hear what those jewelers and pawn stores are offering them for those diamonds. It's a very small percentage. Under normal circumstances, a pawn shop might offer you 50 to 60% of what you paid for something. Because of everything that's happening, this year, many pawn shops are now keeping their offers below 35%. Some are offering 25%, and desperate customers are accepting those offers. Another variable in all of this is the fact that it's only a matter of time before the managers of some of these athletes start getting hit with massive lawsuits by the athletes themselves. The typical claim is that the manager either mismanaged the athlete's finances or failed to disclose everything that was going on, and they will try and blame them for all those issues. So, what should these athletes do? Well, I can tell you what the really smart ones are doing. They're reducing their overhead by trying to sell off as many of their non-essential assets as possible. That means a lot of them are getting rid of their second and third homes. They're getting rid of their stupid, ego-driven car collections. They're trying to sell their private jets. They're selling off their second secret apartment that they kept in the city that they would use to sleep with hookers and groupies in. They're unloading their stocks and bonds. Some of them are putting more time and energy into pursuing side gigs in acting, stand-up comedy, and commercial work to keep trying to pay the bills until their season returns to normal again. A number of retired athletes are even looking to move out of the country to places with a much lower cost of living, but places that are still close enough to the U.S. to allow them to fly back regularly to visit family. Central America is a place many of them are looking into. Some of these former pro athletes are even going back to the job market and pursuing regular jobs, working with regular companies. These are the people I respect the most because they appear willing to do whatever it takes to keep feeding their families. And that speaks volumes about their character to me. We've even heard a story of one former pro athlete who went and got a normal 9-to-5 job to support his family, but he has grown an enormous facial beard and he wears a hat and fake glasses just to reduce the number of customers who recognize him and keep asking for selfies. There are some positive stories out there as well. We're hearing about a group of 4 athletes who were all in the same position financially, who decided to get together to start a business of their own. There are also a number of retired pros who are considering getting into politics, and that's always an interesting option. My advice to all of them is to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Keep reducing your overhead and keep cutting back on your non-essential expenses. There's one more interesting thing of note that we discovered. Apparently, there is one group of pro athletes that doesn't appear to be running into as much financial trouble, and those are the athletes in e-game sports. These are professional video game players. Despite making great money for some reason, a lot of them continue to enjoy living at home with mom and dad. I'm guessing it has something to do with mom's cooking and their ability to keep their bills down by not going out and buying a crazy mansion. I also suspect that professional video gamers are less likely to waste a lot of their money on drugs, hookers, yachts, or private planes. It seems that this new generation of video gamers has learned from many of the mistakes once made by pro athletes and other sports leagues. So, with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you soon.